Welcome to episode 21 of season 4 of the Gateway Geeks Podcast. This episode, we talk Zack Snyder's Justice League cut, Falcon and Winter Soldier, vampires, and zombies. You know, Easter stuff. Now over to your hosts, Sarah, Chris, Tracy, and Joe.
I guess. Okay.
All right. Well, we just got done playing a game called Drug Dealer or Young Professional, and we're going to move into the actual podcast now. So welcome to episode 21 of season 4 of the Gateway Geeks Podcast. This time this is like our Easter episode in which we're going to only barely touch on Easter for like 3 minutes, and then mostly we're going to talk about fucking superheroes again. I'm Joe Colburn. I can wiggle my nose like a rabbit, and I think my favorite zombie is one of the times when Willow brings Buffy back from the dead with something she bought on eBay. And I will pass it to Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sarah Jane Connor. I cannot wiggle my nose. I don't have a favorite zombie thing. I don't like zombies. Sorry. What's it? Chris?
Hey, I'm Chris. I can't wiggle my nose weirdly. Well, my favorite zombie is coincidentally also probably the finest modern retelling of the story of Jesus Christ, adapted for a modern setting, known as RoboCop.
That is a good answer. Okay.
Tracy, good luck following that.
Yeah, that's rough. Hi, I'm Tracy. I cannot wiggle my nose. Whenever I do, I just move my mouth from side to side and think I'm wiggling my nose. It's embarrassing. I thought that we had a choice between zombie or resurrection. So I chose a resurrection, which is from Bringing Out the Dead, whenever Ving Rhames is a paramedic and gives a junkie a shot of adrenaline while leading everyone in a prayer circle and convinces a bunch of junkies that he's bringing him back from the dead, even though it's using adrenaline to bring him back from an overdose.
What the fuck? What movie was that? What was it called?
Bringing Out the
Dead.
It's a really great Scorsese movie that's really known. So.
Oh man. Okay.
True story.
I'll have to watch that.
Yeah, it's worth watching. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like Ving Rhames. So, like I said, we're talking mostly about superheroes, but I guess there were a couple things that we could choose to talk about this. And as I'm editing, I could just cut these out if we decide we don't want to talk about them. Mm-hmm. Here's a fun superhero thing. So Aaron showed me this. Keanu Reeves wrote a comic book, which you'd think would be
Berserker.
I think it'd be really terrible.
No, it's great.
No, it is, but but it's good. It's like the first thing is it's kind of like if you took John Wick and combined him with Keanu Reeves' character in Cyberpunk. It's like that's what the character. Did you read it yet, Chris? Or did you just?
I read a sample. I haven't got a chance to pick it up because I don't leave my house except to work.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good, and they're already gonna like make a movie out of it, and it'll be good.
Yeah.
Just saw that.
Yeah, I mean it's total just action movie hero fantasy trash, but it's at least not exactly the same kind of trash we're used to eating.
Mm-hmm.
As pop culture raccoons, as someone once said. I think that was probably Sarah.
It was me.
It was Sarah. Yeah, and then
that was my first appearance on this podcast.
It was. That's right.
I coined the term pop culture raccoons. Yeah.
This is a quick throwaway, though. Did everybody see the Suicide Squad trailer?
Yes.
Oh, I saw that.
It was great, honestly.
Was it?
It looks really good, actually. Like, I was awesome. Surprised.
It looks amazing.
Chris sent me the link, and I was like, "Wait, this looks fun." What?
It's James Gunn. I mean, come on. Of course it was going to. Like, it has such big Guardians of the Galaxy as an R-rated movie feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
And
a very good use of Steely Dan's dirty work, which I appreciated.
Indeed. King Shark is already the internet's favorite new big adorable James Gunn murder character. And the minute I figured out who was voicing him, I nearly rolled over dying laughing because it's Sylvester Stallone.
Yep.
And it's and I'll tell you, my favorite King Shark still Ron Funches, but Sly Stallone now in there in a close second.
I mean,
So-
listen, you can't beat Ron Funches.
Nope.
Has Sylvester Stallone become too much of a visible mutant to appear on camera anymore? Because I mean, like, you just see what he looks like in the Expendables movies, and you're like, dude, you're like 60 years old. Just lay off the steroids. It's fine. Like, you're a grandpa. It's okay.
He was in Guardians 2 on camera.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he's become like the new Roker. Like he's the new weird old guy that shows up in all the James Gunn movies.
Yeah. I mean, we could just, do you guys want to just skip to talking about the Zack Snyder thing? Because I have on here like stuff that was in the news, but it doesn't really fit into any of this, and it's all very depressing. And I don't know if we...
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay. All right. So we're going to talk about the Zack Snyder 4-hour remake. Only one of us saw it, which is probably going to be a good sample of the general population. So Chris, do you want to give us your actually informed opinion before we proceed to speculate wildly?
Sure. Quick disclaimer. Now, I am not a doctor, but if it takes you 4 hours to masturbate, you should see a doctor. Honest to God, it's fucking terrible. It's look.
Joe really likes that joke.
I do. That's good.
Look, I am one of the people that actually liked Justice League, and I hate Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
I thought it was fun, but what made it fun is that it was a mess, right?
Yeah.
Like, you were looking at like a $250 million buzzsaw patch job. But one, I mean, like it clipped, like it moved along. And two, it was funny. So now we get a version where all of the jokes have been stripped out. Just absolute humorless, grim, blah. Oh God. Okay, let's just like right from the beginning. So I actually really liked the very weird beginning of the old Justice League, which was just the cell phone camera footage of Henry Cavill's Superman, just like, hey kids, what's up? I'm Superman. Just talking to a couple of kids. And I thought that did such a better job of getting across this idea of like what the world lost. Instead, Zack Snyder is what a dumb person thinks a good director looks like. So, yeah.
I mean, not wrong.
There's no subtlety to anything he does, but it looks artsy. Well, it's like he builds like a really well-crafted hammer and then just hits you in the face with it over and over again.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're all familiar with the concept of like, the shot heard around the world, or, the moment that echoed throughout the world or time. Okay. So in this retelling, it opens with Superman's death while fighting Doomsday, right? From, the second worst movie ever made, Batman vs. Superman.
Mm-hmm.
The worst still being Man of Steel.
Yes.
Which, by the way, I love Henry Cavill. I love him to death. I think he's actually a really good Superman. I think Zack Snyder is a fascist piece of shit who needs to be nowhere near Superman.
Yeah.
So basically, as Superman is being crushed / like Krypton raid to death through like a Doomsday Batman DP situation, he goes into his death O face and yells, "Arr!" And it physically echoes. Like he yells so loud that it echoes around the world and everyone hears it.
Yeah,
everyone
it's a literal.
Everyone literally hears it. Okay.
Everyone literally. The Atlanteans hear it. They're like underwater, and like a wave goes over. They're like, oh. This is the first 5 minutes of a 4-hour movie.
Oh
It's
God.
all in slow motion, as is 90% of the movie. It's just so much slow. Here's the thing. It's not even a traditional movie. It is a short story collection,
Oh
right?
God.
Because every scene
Yeah.
has an introduction, a rising action, a climax, and a conclusion. Every fucking scene.
Oh.
Zach, you don't need this.
Yeah.
This is, oh my God. It's like, it's almost that old MGM style of filmmaking where, like, if you're going to like change location, you have to show them get in a car, drive there, get out of the car, and enter the building.
Yeah.
Because they didn't trust the audience to know that, oh, we traveled to a place.
Yeah.
Imagine that mindset, but with everything.
Oh.
Everything. Oh my God. Oh, and then, oh my God, like the scene where he goes to the village to recruit Aquaman.
Mm-hmm.
Right? One, you quickly figure out that the scene we saw in the old version was 2 different scenes that were cobbled together into a scene that was shorter than either of its parts, right?
Oh.
Yeah. Now, the first time he goes there, you get this long, humorless, like, I'm looking for a man. He comes on the king's time. And this goes on for like 10 minutes, right? Of them, like, this verbal wordplay of him clearly knowing that's Arthur, blah, 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 blah. And this version, as he's walking out to the water, they cut the joke where he's like, a strong man stands alone. A strong man, strongest when standing alone. And then Bruce goes like, that's not the expression. That's not it at all. That's cut. Now we just get Aquaman going, the strongest man stands alone, and Bruce just like nods in agreement because Zack Snyder is an objectivist. And wait, it gets so much worse because then as he walks into the water slowly in like real time, a chorus of Nordic blonde women sing a hymn to their sea god as he returns to the sea.
Oh,
so
God.
it's literally Leni Riefenstahl, like you were saying.
Yes. Oh my God! This movie is dripping with the aesthetics of fascist filmmaking. Like, oh my God! It's
and just as an aside, I think I can't remember everyone who's been drawn into this conversation. Maybe Sarah and Tracy have been, but we were talking about like the way that fascist and socialist realism kind of doesn't take any of its audience seriously. It doesn't respect its audience. It's like no metaphor, nothing beyond just like what is superficially available. I think that's why
authoritarians are not well known for trusting their audience.
No.
True.
Yeah.
God. So
no, but it's like, oh God, this whole fucking movie, everything. Like, I don't even know. Like, I could just go scene by scene and talk about everything that horror. In the original version, probably like the best edited, well put together scene of the whole movie is Wonder Woman foiling the bank robbery. Right? It's like a real quick, good, efficient introduction of Wonder Woman. Oh, not this time. No. Now we see the bank robbers arrive. We have a tracking shot of them all the way through and up into the bank. It's all like handheld at Dutch angles to let you know that everything's askew. We learn about the political orientation of these terrorists pretending to be bank robbers. We see them rounding up all the people. We hear their demands. We see the device and all of its detail. Wonder Woman interrogates a guy, so we get to an exposition of because the lasso of truth is actually the lasso of exposition. You don't just answer questions; you monologue,
right,
and tell everybody what's going on. And then, so then she goes in to save these kids, and fucking kills everyone in this room, right? Because she's like, I don't have time to be subtle. At one point, she grabs a dude and throws him into, which is in the original, when she grabs a dude and throws him into the wall, right? But in this version, his head hits the wall and explodes in front of all these kids. And for the
Jesus.
rest of the scene and all those heartwarming, like, it's okay, kids, you're okay. Every time it cuts to Diana, just over her shoulder is a red stain on the wall where this dude's brains were.
God.
Right? And then again, because they're gods, right? Guys, you need to all remember these are gods. These are better people than us.
Yeah.
One little girl, she's like, hey, are you okay? Kneels in front of Diana, looks up at her and says, can I be you when I grow up? Which is like, that's a fine, cheesy DC moment, but it's the benediction of the kneeling. Again.
Yeah.
Okay. Zack Snyder treats his actors well. People like Zack Snyder. He seems like a nice guy in person. That doesn't. Okay. Look, there were two very problematic directors working on the last Justice League movie, right? And like, yeah, but here, Joss Whedon is like a shitty person who treats people poorly and makes regular movies.
Yeah.
Zack Snyder is a very personable person who treats his actors well and makes Nazi propaganda.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Yeah.
Like, Leni Riefenstahl treated her actors better than Alfred Hitchcock, but we don't call Leni Riefenstahl less toxic than Alfred Hitchcock.
Right.
Because at some point you have to acknowledge not just the working conditions, but what the factory is making.
Yeah. Very true.
Like, you know, the V2 rocket is not less horrifying if it's made with not slave labor, right? Like, at some point, the point is not the working conditions of the set.
I do enjoy, Chris, how we have a lot of sex jokes and facts about World War II in this podcast. So those will go.
Well, you invited me.
So I did have a question though. I heard that Cyborg is actually in this one, and he wasn't. I mean, he wasn't really in the last. Was he in the last one at all?
Yeah,
like the original.
He was one of the four main characters.
Yeah.
Joe?
Dude, I may not have even seen the other one.
Did you actually see Justice League, Joe?
I may be thinking of like one of those other.
You might
Batman,
be thinking
Superman
of Batman
movies.
v Superman because
I probably am. Yeah.
like Cyborg is in it for like 12 seconds to establish that he is a thing and he will be in Justice League.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's a major character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's actually the one who, it's still in this version too, he's the one who instigates the fight with Superman when they bring him back and he's all brain frazzled because his mother. Oh my god. There is an extended scene. I love Joe Morton. I hope Joe Morton got a second paycheck out of this. If he did, I feel
God
bad
willing.
about all this. There's a lot more Joe Morton in this version, including a 10-minute so over the top explanation of all of Cyborg's powers, especially vis-a-vis his ability to craft the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And again, because they have to hit home the idea that he's a god.
Mm-hmm.
He's the god of information. Batman is the god of the underworld. Diana is the god of Olympus. Oh my god, it's so over the fuck. And the god allegory is built in, right? That's there with DC, with Justice League to begin with.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between the idea of they're like modern gods and, oh, these are people who are better than you and all should kneel down and worship them.
Yeah.
All of Zack Snyder's movies always feature people falling to their knees and praying to their betters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? Why do we keep letting this? And y'all know what his next big project is, right? Well, I mean, the next project is they're releasing a black and white version of this same 4-hour movie.
Why?
I hope HBO. I think it's a sting. My theory is that they're gonna record the names and IP addresses of everyone who watched both, because anyone who goes back to, oh my god, let me tell you why black and white's a terrible idea. This movie is so dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not gonna be able
Physically,
to see a goddamn thing. Like,
it's so much worse than the old one even. Like clearly
oh,
the old one, they like upped the color temperature and like reduced some of the
oh
contrast.
yeah, no, like I saw some screenshot comparisons. Like Joss Whedon definitely regraded it when he took over.
Yeah, like everyone gives Marvel shit, and rightly so, for their like really flat color grading.
Oh yeah.
But Disney also knows that people are going to watch these at home a lot more than they're going to watch them in theater, and you need to be able to see it with natural daylight in the room.
Mhm.
Zack Snyder doesn't give a fuck, despite the fact that this movie will never be seen in a theater.
Right.
Will
Yeah.
only ever be seen on home. Like you cannot see it if there's any light. It's indecipherable. Everything is so dark. And I know part of it.
Is it better or worse than Teen Wolf?
Much worse, actually.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Because sorry.
No, Teen Wolf was a show about a bunch of brunette-haired men, all wearing leather jackets, having fights in the middle of the dark woods, and you had no idea what was happening.
Yeah, weirdly, it's like if Outsiders were about werewolves,
That's not unfair.
but but even more homoerotic,
Yes.
and everyone's even wetter somehow.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the scenes take place in the boys' shower in the locker room. Like
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, they have like 4 regular sets, and one of them is just the boys' locker room at the high school. So there are a lot of scenes that take place in that locker room that like not really appropriate for that locale, but we're there. We're sure there.
Yeah, actual good Superman, Tyre Hoechlin played an adult werewolf who spends a lot of time in the boys' locker room.
Yeah, that was weird.
He does not work for the school, just to be
No, he is not affiliated with this school in any way. He's just a weird 25-year-old who
Oh my
lives in a
God.
burnt out house.
They're just-
Quick aside, I saw a tweet this morning that made me laugh entirely too hard. What do you call a social media werewolf?
What?
Like and subscribe.
God damn.
Oh God.
Podcast is canceled. We're done. No, okay, so you mentioned Marvel. Did everybody see we saw the premiere of the new Falcon and Winter Soldier? Sarah, did you and Chris both get to see?
I saw.
Yes.
I've seen both the first 2
Oh, you've
episodes.
seen
Yeah.
Cool. So,
Oh,
thoughts?
I'm sorry. Is there new media with Bucky in it? Yes, of course, people.
Yeah.
True.
He's
Yeah,
our
yeah.
beautiful son.
That's true. Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
Like, I love Sam to death, and I'm so glad he's here. But Bucky, man.
Yeah.
If this were honest to God, just a web series about Bucky's therapy sessions, I would watch them.
I
quickly.
would watch that. Yeah.
mhm. Yeah. It was. I didn't appreciate that. Was it? I guess that must have been the first episode where he like goes to the bar and he's hitting on the bartender, and his big thing is, what is he, like 105 years old or something like that?
He's decidedly not hitting on the bartender.
Yeah.
The old man who's his
The
friend
old man who's his friend, right? Who's his old
Yeah.
man friend.
sets him
yes.
up with the bartender. Okay? Oh God, I could dissect that scene for a million years.
Yeah.
Because
There's a lot happening there.
Yeah.
First off, clearly he goes in thinking like, I'm just going to be honest about everything, and she's like, so how old is she? She's like, she said something like, oh, have you been dating? And he's like, yeah, I've been trying the apps. They're weird. A lot of tigers, which is the first clue that like, so tigers on Tinder is a thing for men.
Yep.
So like Bucky got the bi settings going.
Mm-hmm.
Like right off
I
the
thought
bat.
he was, I thought he was
Listen, we
being
should not
old.
give Marvel a lot of credit for that, because that's clearly a thing that like the queers are meant to pick up on and the straight people are not going to get at all. Like, so
True.
Yeah.
half credit,
thought-
Marvel.
See, I thought Marvel was trying to simultaneously say that and also, like, for straight people, make them think that he was talking about cougars and using the wrong word or something. Like, I thought there was like a double thing on there.
It's a thing. Like it's a thing. It's a cultural touchstone of like, Jesus, what's with all the dudes with tiger pictures?
Yeah.
And then, like, clearly he's thinking, like, I'm just going to be honest because I'm trying to be honest now. I'm in therapy. And she's like, you sound like my dad. How old are you? 106. And you just see his face go, but panic. Like, it's panic in his eyes. She's like, oh, fuck. Honestly, it's not working. And then she's like, hey, what's with the gloves? And he's just like, I have bad circulation.
Yep.
So that he didn't have to explain, no, I have a robot arm that I got in Wakanda while fighting Thanos. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, once you get to episode 2, you get one of my absolute favorite exchanges between the two of them, which is Bucky trying to sneak into a warehouse and Sam is just walking up behind him. He's all like, look at you being all stealthy and shit. Spent a couple of months in Wakanda and now you're the White Panther? He turns around, actually, it's White Wolf. Wait, what? You almost get this moment of Sam being like, wait, why does the white dude get a title in Wakanda? I went to Wakanda. How come nobody gave me a title? Oh, God. Yeah. Sam definitely gets, oh, God, he's good at the banter. He gets into it with a 10-year-old kid on the street, and it's honestly one of the best moments of the... This little kid just runs up to him. It's like, oh, shit, it's the Black Panther. It's the Black Falcon. It's Falcon, kid. My daddy said, you're Black Falcon. Why? Because I'm black? What, they call you Black Kid?
Yeah, I mean...
Which is also the episode, by the way, where they establish that... like they've played around with the idea in other media that, like, the United States and the Soviet Union kept fucking around with the serum, and there's actually just might be super soldiers everywhere.
Yeah.
There's probably like generations of super soldiers that have just been abandoned by various governments.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I'm really liking this show.
I'm still on the fence, but like I see the potential. Like I'm very happy that they're like actually like attempting to do something about race. Like that's actually cool to see. Like I don't know how that's gonna work out, but
especially for Disney. No, there's literally a scene in that second episode where the two of them get into a yelling match in the street and the cops roll up and try to arrest Sam. They're like, hey, is this guy bothering you? And I'm like, this is a weirdly progressive message in
I know.
So it does then turn into the cops being like, "Oh shit! Oh, we didn't arrest you. We didn't recognize you. Oh, Mr. Barnes, there's a warrant out for your arrest."
Yeah.
Well, right. Well, and then but then there's also
he's been pardoned. He gets arrested for missing court-ordered therapy.
Yeah.
There's also that scene where Sam and his sister go to the bank to get a loan and she can't get the loan. Like there's a lot of stuff like that going on. It's nice. I mean, I find that stuff is more interesting to me than the fighting. Like whenever they start fighting, I just get up and like go upstairs and start and like read or something for 10 minutes and come down when we're watching it.
Okay, but come on, like 5 dudes fighting on 2 side-by-side semi-trucks rolling down the road.
That was a good fight scene. That
was a beautifully blocked fight scene. Come on.
Yeah.
Tracy, what do you think? You watched it. You watched the first episode.
I don't think I paid very well attention to it. So I just be totally honest. And I don't know these characters. I don't have a background. Like you two are saying that one of these characters is like your son. So like you've got some investment there that I don't have.
The actor who plays the character. The actor who plays Bucky.
No, both.
Both, yeah.
Both.
Yeah.
All of his characters are the same. He plays himself.
Fair enough. He seemed like a good actor. I thought he did a good job. I liked him. But
he plays angsty, angry gay boys who can fight sometimes.
Yeah. No, awesome. Sebastian Stan, like his previous filmography, it's just like being the best actor in a terrible thing. Honestly.
Yup.
You're just like, this movie is bad, but Sebastian Stan is really bringing a charismatic performance to the table. Good job, Sebastian. Thank you for gracing the covenant with your presence.
For sure.
Oh my God, Sarah, we were watching Vampire Academy, or I was. I think Tracy left.
I love Vampire Academy.
It's hilarious. I love
so
it.
good.
So did you notice the guy that we kept calling not Jack Black, the PE teacher / love interest?
Yeah.
I don't think I made it that far. Is that in the first part?
Wait, are you talking about the movie Vampire Academy, or are you talking about?
No, isn't there a TV show?
The Vampire Diaries.
Vampire Diaries.
Are you watching the Vampire Diaries?
I'm gonna look this up. I feel like my grandma came on the show. Let me just look this up.
Because I did watch like 4 or 5 seasons of the Vampire Diaries. So if you want to talk Vampire Diaries, I'm about that, my man.
No, it was Vampire Academy, because it's the one that you were telling me about where there's like the girl whose job is to be the bodyguard for the princess.
Yeah,
right?
that's Vampire Academy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all like weirdly Eastern Orthodoxy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, since we're talking about resurrections, I guess we could talk a little bit about vampires if you guys want. We're only like 36. We're only like 36 minutes into this.
Wait. Vampire Academy.
Vampire Academy.
I still don't know why we did that for an hour.
I don't know.
But we did.
No, we were high on the magic of Vampire Academy.
That's one of the more fun movies we ever saw together.
That's
not gonna
true.
lie.
Yeah.
Like, I get why it bombed, but I'm so sad that it didn't make
Yeah,
a
it's like,
million of them.
listen, I understand. And like, if you were a fan of the books going in, like, it's not a good adaptation. But like, also, those are not good books. Like, I read all of them, but they're not good.
No.
I mean, listen, if you wanna talk Vampire Diaries, I could also do.
I have never watched the show, but I did watch Jenny Nicholson's entire recap of the entire series.
No, listen, it's bad. It's a bad show, but also I watched a lot of it.
Okay, see, that's why I'm confused, because Chris, I did the same thing. I watched Vampire Academy, the movie, and then Jenny Nicholson's thing about Vampire Diaries. Yes, because she goes into great depth about how, like, why did they all have these magic rings or whatever that can make?
Yeah, there's a lot of magical jewelry.
As opposed to
they did a lot of like Target directed merchandising.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
for sure.
Sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They successfully did the thing that Gene Roddenberry was always trying to do, where he kept trying to slide shit into the show that he thought he could. Yeah, no, Aaron's not here for that conversation. Like the Idic.
Nice try, Chris. Nice try. It's not coming up this time.
Even like Gene Roddenberry would try weird shit like the Idic, which is like the Vulcan symbol. He literally thought he could just like sell big chunky 70s necklaces with that thing on there. Like,
I mean, the 70s were a different time. Like
70s were a very weird time. Yes. God.
But no,
so were the 90s, honestly. Which Tracy and I have been watching, and speaking of Joss Whedon, we've been watching all the way through Buffy again, and it's still good, you guys. I mean,
it's amazing.
It's still good. It's just that you look at all of the every time, like who plays is it Eliza Dushku who plays the one Slayer, and then she was on Dollhouse?
Yeah, that's Eliza Dushku. Yeah,
like you just. I don't know what season she comes in, but I just saw her come on and I was like, oh God, here's like another like young woman for Joss Whedon to abuse. Like every time I see a new character who's like a child, I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But other than that, the vampires in that are way less important aside from Angel. Have you guys seen that?
Her relationship with Whedon is weird. I always wonder exactly. Because those two actually seem to collaborate well together. Because people don't always realize that Dollhouse was her deal.
Right.
Yeah.
Like he ran the show, but that was her development deal, and she brought him in. So I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, it's hard to tell what's going on there.
Yeah, my guess is they had a slightly better working relationship than Charisma Carpenter.
Yeah,
God.
I mean, it'd be hard not to.
And frankly. What did in his Charisma Carpenter, has she even done anything else since Buffy? I mean, I know that
a little bit. She kind of retired.
Yeah.
She got fired off of Angel for getting pregnant.
Yeah.
And then once she had a kid, she sort of like soft retired
Mhm.
slash was suffering from trauma from dealing with Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah.
But yeah, I can't remember specifically seeing her in anything. A
Mhm.
lot of times when people disappear, like you find out they've been, producing.
Or doing
Yeah.
stuff behind.
It's like the Seth Rogen thing, right? Where like if you weren't paying attention, you could be like, "What's that guy doing?" And then you're like, "Oh wait, he's like a major TV producer, owns a pot empire.
Yeah.
He's actually like too busy to act."
It says she was on Veronica Mars
Oh
In,
yeah,
like-
yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
for like
yeah.
a year. But God, I was so surprised about Angel becoming a thing, because to me, Angel is like the most boring fucking character in that
He's
entire
not.
show.
Yeah.
Joe, remember what that show was competing against?
Right?
Mm.
The number
Yeah.
one show in America through the entire run of Buffy the Vampire Slayer was Home Improvement.
Mhm.
True.
So, like, if you wanted, like, sexy dudes on TV, it was like David Boreanaz and Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
I'm sure the actor is fine. I just didn't. The interesting thing was, I was telling Tracy about this. Is it like the 8th and the 9th season of Buffy are both in comic books exclusively?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Joss Whedon stepped out in a different, I think it was Zoom or one of those like Top Cow, like one of those third tier comic book companies, bought Buffy and started remaking the stories. And now they're into like a whole nother set of stories. And now
Oh.
Joss Whedon came back and is helping make new stories, but it's not part of the original. They've like redone the whole thing.
Now, is it Joss or is it his brother? Because his brother was the one kind of running the comic book stuff.
What's his brother's name?
I cannot remember.
I think it was
Zach?
Joss Whedon.
I think it's Jeb. Like, it's way too close to Joss. I literally think it might be Jeb.
Jeb.
I'm not even kidding.
Jed. It's Jed.
Oh,
Ah.
Jed.
Yeah.
You're thinking of Jeb Bush.
I mean, please clap.
Oh my God. Yeah, but I mean, some of them are pretty good. They're still kind of using Sarah Michelle Gellar's likeness though, like even now, which is interesting.
Oh yeah, I mean that's all wrapped up in character rights,
Mhm.
Right? Yeah.
like once you own that character, you can contracts. How much do you know about the weird fight over Back to the Future Part 2?
We're about to find out. Go
Yeah.
focus.
So oh shit, I just blanked on the actor's name. The guy that played Marty's dad.
Crispin Glover.
Yeah,
Crispin
Crispin
Glover.
Glover.
So Crispin Glover did not exactly get along with why am I blanking on like one of the most famous directors alive? Fuck.
Zemeckis.
Yeah, with him and Zemeckis didn't really get along all that well while making Back to the Future.
I mean, it's my understanding that Crispin Glover did not get along with most people.
He is even stranger than you think he is, like
Yep.
infamously. So he did not return for the second movie, like in a manner of not being invited to return to the second movie.
Mhm.
But in a bunch of but if you notice, he's in the movie.
Yeah.
They used unused footage from the first one to insert him into faraway shots in the second one. And he sued and won. Like, you can't put me in your movie and not pay me.
Yeah.
So now contracts get much more specific about like likeness rights.
Mhm.
Like it's actually like one of those cases like you learn about when you study entertainment law. It was
Mhm.
like a big precedent setting deal that no, you can't just capture. Now it gets a little more complicated when people are dead and you have estates that are willing to sign off
Yeah.
rights for like fucking holograms so you can get John Wayne selling your beer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Crispin
man.
Glover, Crispin Glover was he's pretty good as Mr. World in the American Gods.
He's an amazing actor. Like everything he does, he's weird and he's creepy and he's great.
But again, he's always himself, like you're saying.
Here's the thing. Crispin Glover is one of these dudes who like makes his own weird art films.
Yeah.
And he acts exclusively to finance his art films. And I mean, he doesn't distribute them. He exhibits them. He owns every copy and goes around in person and does like Q&As and before and after. And famously, David Sims, a critic from The Atlantic, was interviewing him. And he said something like, "Oh yeah, I said one of his movies." And he's like, "Oh, when? I don't remember seeing you in any of those." And Sims is like, all of a sudden I froze when I realized that I had watched a torrent of one of his movies, and he's like obsessive about these movies not being shown when he's not there.
Yeah.
And it led to him getting his ass chewed out, and he stormed out of the room. And and they were doing press for Hot Tub Time Machine.
Oh my gosh.
Which is another movie that he rocks. Like, he's really good in there. Also, his most terrifying role ever is definitely the smut-stained train coal man at the beginning of a Dead Man, the Jim Jarmusch movie. That moment where you have to sit there and go, so this is hell, right? Like, is this a metaphor or is this literally hell? I like a good Jarmusch movie.
Yeah, we need to watch one of his or David Lynch or something. Did someone express an extreme dislike of David Lynch already on the podcast, or did I imagine that?
I don't think so.
Okay, maybe we can like collectively agree on one.
Yeah,
that might be interesting.
I mean, if you want the more palatable version of Jim Jarmusch, it's called Spike Jonze. If you want the
Yeah.
Right.
Which is not to say is the diet version. Don't get me wrong. I love and respect both of them, but Spike Jonze is much easier to sell them. Spike Jonze is the kind of director that people go, "I don't know that guy," and then you list his movies and they go, "Oh, I've seen half of those."
Yeah.
Jim Jarmusch is the guy that if people don't know the director, they've never seen his movies.
Yeah.
Right. What are we watching? I'll watch Dead Man again. I don't give a shit.
Oh, I love that movie.
What are we
I'll
watching?
watch whatever. It's fine.
And we've all seen Coffee and Cigarettes, right?
Oh, it's been a minute.
Oh.
Yes, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I've seen it, but God, it's been a while.
I know, God, it's been a hot minute.
I don't even know where we would find that. Let me actually look.
Yeah.
I assume
the only scene that sticks out to me is Tom Waits and Iggy Pop talking about pie.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
That's the only thing I remember.
So I feel like that weird David Lynch thing on Netflix where he was talking to the monkey was totally a ripoff of Coffee and Cigarettes. I feel like it absolutely, like if you go and watch it again, it's very similar. It has a very similar energy to that pie scene. But yeah, so this is God.
I don't think it's streaming anywhere.
I mean, we could do.
Oh, it's on. Oh, you can buy it on Vudu. Barf.
What the fuck?
What even?
Well, let's just find like the most freely available Jim Jarmusch movie.
Yeah. Has Jim Jarmusch not embraced streaming? I'm shocked.
Oh man. Well, we've made a good attempt at an Easter episode, so congratulations everyone. We've got some things in here at least. I don't know how to end this. I never know how to end this. This is the problem with taking one too many classes about contemporary art is you just lose the ability to form like a narrative. It just doesn't. I just don't have it anymore. I can't do it.
I mean, real quick, we can just touch on Invincible if you want to. Has anybody else actually watched that?
No.
I've seen the ads for it. I haven't watched it. You
Which one is
Heart-
it?
It's oh shit, what's his name? The guy that does the Walking Dead comic. What's his name?
Kerdman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he had another comic called Invincible that's now been adapted. And it's actually another show that Seth Rogen is show running.
Oh, okay.
Or at least his production company or something.
Yeah.
And it's like I can't get into The Boys. Like I just can't. Like it's a good show. I get it. I can't get into it. This is along those. But one, it's animated. Two, like where The Boys is like, what can we get away with? This is like a genuine, full-hearted attempt at sort of like a DC-esque comic book world.
Okay.
But where the squishiness and the exploding people are meant to establish stakes.
Oh, okay.
Right.
They're not just there for the stake of blowing up people.
Mhm.
Right.
The voice cast is ridiculously stacked. You got Johnny Ewan being the main character. He's this teenage kid. You got his parents played by Sandra Oh and J.K. Simmons.
Nice.
And it's this idea that J.K. Simmons is this like Superman analog alien from another world superhero.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not the main character. The main character is his son, who's just now coming into his power. Sort of like R-rated Sky High sort of thing going on.
I was going to say, this sounds like Sky High. I understand why you like this.
Right. But like very different vibe.
Yeah, I can tell.
But similar in a lot of ways, but very, very good. And it's it's a combination of him coming to his own along with, I don't want to give anything away, but like some real weird hanky shit going on with his dad.
Okay.
That he's not so much aware of, but like you as the audience are. And it's man, some of the other voice casts, there's Jason Mantzoukas is playing this dude who's like got Gambit's powers, but Jason Mantzoukas' personality.
You sure?
As a teenager. Zachary Quinto as just a robot named Robot. Who, gets to deliver lines like, the statistical probabilities of victory are inconsequential. I will direct the government for a nuclear strike. No, we're not nuking the city. I don't know. It's got a good heart to it. It's still got the gory thing. 1 second. Oh, sorry. It's got a bit of a tonal whiplash. But in a way that's like sort of life does, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Where like it has this way of it setting up like, oh, this is a coming of age. Get out there and do your best. And it's like, oh shit, this old woman just died in my arms when her head's missing.
Yeah.
Like it's I'm trying to like describe it without like spoiling anything because it's like weirdly plotty.
Okay.
And because like it's plotty enough that they released the first 3 episodes together, and I'm releasing them weekly after that. Which I always like because it's enough to like get you hooked, and then get you coming back for more. So many. It's one of those shows. It's an Amazon show, and like many Amazon shows, they have a lot of fun with the X-ray thing. Where if you move the mouse across, you get the little like details and stuff. Which I think is very important so that you catch all of the pun names. So many of the superhero names are just like the most delightful, cheesy superhero puns. There's like a team that's like their version of like the Teen Titans. One of the characters who is /3 of the characters who can infinitely duplicate is a character named Duplicate. Her name's Kate.
Sure.
Later on, there's a prison scene where you see a room full of all the same like teenage boy, and only if you're watching in the X-ray do you realize that is her estranged brother Multipal.
No.
God damn it.
Like we were talking about this a little bit before the podcast started, but when are we going to get back to this idea that we can tell stories without superheroes? Because like that sounds good, Chris, but I am just getting so tired. Like I'm burning out already again on superheroes.
Yeah. Like I
Well,
don't
you
know.
had
Like
your year off. They're on their way back, my dude.
like I liked WandaVision a lot, and I'm enjoying the Falcon and the Winter Soldier so far. But like, what if we had some things that were not superheroes also? What if that?
Sarah, we got Mank. What more do you want?
I don't even know what that is.
I have no idea, Chris.
No
idea what that is. I'm looking it up. But...
Mank is a Netflix movie that is another. Let's not even go down that road.
Okay.
I watched it. Of course I did.
Yeah.
I'm that fucker. It's one of those movies that's like designed to like jerk off the Academy.
Oh yeah.
But then it didn't get a theatrical release, so like it won't be considered for an Oscar. Yeah. So it's like La La Land for people who hate joy.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
It's not at all.
Definitely a thing that I want to watch in the midst of the worst year.
The worst year of most people's alive now. Most people's lives. Yeah. God.
No, but Invincible is it's a lot of fun and it's worth watching, and it brings back a lot of the again, I think superhero shit does just work better animated.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's fair, yeah.
Yeah.
Because like, you can have more fun with it, you can go bigger, you can go crazier. The animation's pretty good. Like you can tell that like they save money. Like it gets a little janky in like conversational scenes.
Mm-hmm.
They do the opposite of the like traditional anime thing, where like everything's very fluid when fighting, and then kind of blocky when they're just sitting around talking.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm like I fell in love with it pretty hard. I'm like, okay, yeah, no, this one's got me for the duration. It's again, just pun names alone. Like it's like, and they put like this weird amount of thought into all the villains, and you just get these great moments of like, he names himself Invincible because he needs to like come up with a superhero name, and literally every time he says it out loud, he realizes how dumb it sounds. And literally everyone he tells it to has villain, hero, whatever, has the exact same reaction. Wow, optimistic. Okay, I like it.
Chris, I just looked, just to interject, I just looked up Mank, and its box office was $250,000.
They did that thing where they ran it on like 6 screens so that technically it qualifies for the Oscars.
Mm.
So like it literally only ran in LA for like 2 weeks. Yeah, no. But the not like non-plot like thing from Invincible. They do the sort of things where it's like the secretive government agency that organizes superhero calls him up, and it's like, we have an emergency at Mount Rushmore. We need you there now. Okay, great. Which state is that again? What do they teach you in school these days? Get going. And he's like flying side by side with another character voiced by Britta from Community. What's her name? Jacobs.
Jillian Jacobs.
Jillian Jacobs. And they're like side by side flying. It's like, and she's on the radio, and she's like, what's the situation? Who are we going to find? And they're like, all right, you're going to be fighting Dr. Earthquake. Oh, that's pretentious. No, actually, he has a doctorate in geology. It's that's legit. He built himself from earthquake gloves. Oh, that's cool. So like, what's his deal? What's his ideology? What does he want? Yeah, we're not really sure that even he knows. Our running theory is traumatic brain injury. We think the gloves give him a concussion every time he uses them. And it cuts to this very confused, like ideologically confused old man at Mount Rushmore, shearing the faces off, going, Do not worship these slavers, these idolaters, these destroyers of native lands. I will give you a worthy God to worship, me. And then, like, her character comes flying in, and he's just like, oh, a pink uniform. Way to conform to the gender binary. What the hell? Why am I getting all this crap? I thought your doctorate was in geology. I minored in gender studies and African dance.
Well, that's quite a recommendation.
Yeah.
I know, it's simultaneously, like, heartfelt and fun and horrifying, and I don't know. Like, I'm on board.
Yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
Well, so I guess that's it for this episode, and we'll see you guys next time when we talk about some random Jim Jarmusch movie, and probably also
I guess.
Well,
yeah, we're
also,
gonna watch a Jim Jarmusch movie and the pilot episode of The Vampire Diaries.
Yes, oh
That's
my
the
God.
double feature.
well, I might also just mention that between now and then, there'll also be, 2 more episodes of Winter Soldier and Falcon, and King Kong versus Godzilla.
Oh, we should do a Jim Jarmusch movie and King Kong versus Godzilla. That would be Aaron. That would get Aaron on board at least.
Indeed. I think that comes out Wednesday.
Okay. What does that come out on? Is
HBO.
that HBO again? Okay. Yeah.
And theaters, but HBO simultaneously.
Yeah.
And
So-
shady websites if you're sneaky.
That's right. That's it for Season 4, Episode 21 of the Gateway Geeks Podcast, World War II Facts and Sex Metaphors. Thanks for listening, and don't forget, we're now on Spotify as well as Apple Podcasts. This episode is with Sarah Jane Connor, Tracy Gomillion, Chris Knetzer, and Joe Colburn. It was edited by me, Joe Colburn, and produced by Chris and Joe.